gone for good, or is it? Right now, scientists are doing something that sounds like science fiction. Using DNA, cloning, and gene editing, they're trying to bring extinct animals back to life. In this video, I'll show you 10 extinct species they're actually bringing back to life. Number 10. Dire wolf. The dire wolf vanished about 12,500 years ago. For all that time, it lived only in fossils and old stories. But not anymore. Picture 3 young wolves running across a private preserve right now, today, with thick white coats and broad, heavy heads. Their names are Romulus, Remus, and Khaleesi. A company called Colossal Biosciences made them. Here's the honest part. These aren't perfect copies of the old dire wolf. They're gray wolves whose DNA was carefully rewritten, 20 small edits across 14 genes, to bring back the size, the coat, and the look of the lost predator. So they are living animals built to be the dire wolf in nearly every way you can see, even if a few hidden genes are still their own. Romulus and Remus were born in October 2024. Khaleesi followed a few months later. By their first birthday, the brothers each weighed over 120 pounds and ate 5 pounds of meat a day. Think about what that means. While other teams are still working in labs, this team already has animals breathing, growing, and playing. That's the part to hold on to. The hardest question in this whole field, can you really pull a vanished animal back toward life, has already been answered with a yes. You can watch Run. Even better, the science that made them only gets sharper from here. Number 9. Woolly mammoth. This one might be the closest of all. The woolly mammoth died out thousands of years ago, yet its nearest living relative still walks the earth, the Asian elephant. Their DNA is almost the same. Therefore, the team at Colossal isn't building a mammoth from nothing. They're rewriting elephant genes to add back the thick fur, the fat, and the cold-loving traits the mammoth once had. In March 2025, they showed the world proof it works. They made mice. Not just any mice, woolly mice, with long, wavy golden coats grown by editing 7 genes at once. Picture a mouse wearing a tiny mammoth coat, and you'll understand why scientists were so excited. It was small. It was also huge. Because if you can edit those traits into a mouse, the same playbook points straight at the elephant. The team has set a target you can mark on a calendar. Their first mammoth-like calves by the end of 2028. Be clear about what that calf will be. It won't be an exact ancient mammoth. It'll be an elephant carefully changed to live and look like one, fur and all. Still, think about that date. Not someday, not maybe in a century. A few short years from now, a furry, cold-proof calf could take its first steps. Right now, that editing is already underway. Number 8. Thylacine. The thylacine, or Tasmanian tiger, was a striped meat eater that lived in Australia. The last one died in a zoo in 1936. People filmed it pacing its cage, never knowing it was the final one. But its comeback may have a secret advantage. Here's why. The thylacine was a marsupial, like a kangaroo. Marsupials give birth to tiny, jelly bean-sized babies that finish growing inside a pouch. Therefore, scientists wouldn't need a huge surrogate mother to carry a long pregnancy. A small relative could do the job, with the young finishing in a pouch instead. Colossal teamed up with scientists at the University of Melbourne to chase this. They've already done something remarkable. They read the thylacine's entire genome, every single letter, from a preserved specimen over a century old. Imagine holding the complete instruction book for an animal the world thought was gone forever. That book is now open. The team estimates a living thylacine-like animal could walk Tasmania within about 8 years. Picture that striped tail again, moving through the bush where it belongs. It won't be a flawless copy of the lost original. It'll be a living animal built to take the tiger's place in the wild. The pouch that once made this creature special may now be the very thing that brings it back fastest. Every step is moving forward. Number 7. Gastric brooding frog. This frog did something no other animal could. The gastric brooding frog swallowed its own eggs, grew its babies inside its stomach, then burped them out alive through its mouth. It went extinct in the 1980s. But before it vanished, a scientist tucked a few frogs into a freezer, and those cells are still frozen today. Decades later, picture a key sitting in a freezer, waiting. That's basically what this is. An Australian team called the Lazarus Project took those old cells and tried something bold. They placed the frog's DNA into the egg of a living relative. Something incredible happened. The eggs began to divide. They grew into tiny early embryos carrying the extinct frog's genes. For a few days, a creature gone for 30 years was alive again at the cell level. Then the embryos stopped. They didn't survive past those first days. So right now, there's no living gastric brooding frog hopping around. Let's be honest about that. But think about what already happened. The dead DNA was switched back on once. The cells woke up. The hardest door, bringing lost DNA back to life, was pushed open, even if only a crack. Best of all, the key is still sitting in that freezer, waiting for someone to try again with better tools. Number 6. Quagga. The quagga looked like a zebra that couldn't finish its stripes. Its front half was boldly striped. Its back half faded into smooth brown, like a sunset. Hunters wiped it out, and the last one died in a zoo in 1883. For a long time, people thought it was a separate kind of animal, lost for good. But then DNA told a surprising story. The quagga wasn't its own species at all. It was a type of plain zebra. Therefore, its genes never fully disappeared. They're still scattered inside zebras living today. A group in South Africa, the Quagga Project, realized something powerful. If those genes are still out there, you don't need a lab to rebuild them. You just need to gather them back together. So they picked plain zebras with the faintest stripes and the brownest coats, then bred them, picked again, and bred again. Generation by generation, the stripes faded. Picture a foal born with that exact quagga look, half striped, half brown. That's not a someday dream. Animals called rao quaggas are grazing in South Africa right now, looking remarkably like the lost original. They aren't perfect twins. The colors aren't a flawless match yet. But the herd keeps growing. Each new foal lands a little closer to the real thing. Number 5. Passenger pigeon. Once, this bird darkened the sky. Passenger pigeons flew in flocks so huge they blocked the sun for hours, billions of them. The most common bird in North America. Then people hunted them down. By 1914, every last one was gone. But a scientist named Ben Novak has spent years refusing to accept that ending. He works with a group called Revive and Restore. Their plan is clever. You can't clone a bird, so instead they're using the passenger pigeon's closest living cousin, the band-tailed pigeon. Picture this. Scientists edit pigeon cells to carry the lost bird's traits, then let those birds grow up and pass the changes onto their chicks. The result wouldn't be a perfect copy of the old pigeon. It would be a living bird carrying the passenger pigeon's traits, built to fly its forests and do its job again. Here's the part that makes this real. They've already put a date range on the calendar. The team hopes the first chicks could hatch between 2029 and 2032. That's not far off. Imagine standing in a forest and seeing one of these birds land on a branch, a creature your great-grandparents thought was gone for good. The sky-filling flocks won't return overnight, but the very first hatchling is now close enough to count down to. Number 4. Dodo. Everyone knows the dodo. It's the world symbol for gone forever, a plump, flightless bird from the island of Mauritius, hunted out within a century of humans arriving. But gone forever might finally be getting a rewrite. Bringing back a bird is harder than bringing back a wolf. You can't clone a bird the simple way. Therefore, Colossal built an entire team just to crack the dodo's puzzle. And in 2025, they hit a milestone no one had ever reached. They grew special pigeon cells, the kind that turn into eggs and sperm, alive in the lab for the first time in history. Why does that matter to you? Because those cells are the doorway. Edit them to carry dodo traits, slip them into a host bird, and one day, that bird's eggs could hatch something new. The team is already raising Nicobar pigeons, the dodo's closest living relative, on a Texas farm. They've even created edited chickens to act as surrogate parents. Picture a chicken laying an egg that hatches into a dodo-like chick. It sounds impossible, yet every piece needed to try is now being built, one by one. This is the early chapter, not the final one. But for the first time, the road to the dodo has real ground under it. The team is walking it right now. Number 3. Bluebuck. This is the newest name on the list. The bluebuck was a slender antelope with a shimmering blue-gray coat, so striking it looked like a piece of sky on the move. It lived in South Africa. By around 1800, hunters had wiped it out. The first large African animal humans drove to extinction. For 2 centuries, it stayed gone. But in April 2026, Colossal announced the bluebuck was joining their comeback list, and the work was already well along. They'd quietly started back in 2024. Here's what makes this one move fast. The bluebuck has a close living relative still roaming Africa today, the roan antelope. Therefore, the roan can play 2 roles at once. It lends its genes as the starting point, and it can carry the pregnancy as a surrogate mother. Scientists have already pulled off tricky breakthroughs in antelope reproduction that many thought were years away. Picture a roan antelope giving birth to a calf, with that famous blue shimmer in its coat. The animal won't be a flawless ancient bluebuck. It'll be a living antelope built to carry its color, its face, and its place in the wild. The company's leader says he expects a birth not in distant decades, but in the coming years. Think about it. The newest animal on this whole list is already one of the fastest moving. Number 2. Pyrenean Ibex. This one is proof the door can open. The Pyrenean Ibex was a wild mountain goat with grand curved horns, living high in the peaks between Spain and France. The last one, a female named Celia, died in the year 2000 when a tree fell on her. That should have been the end, but scientists had saved a small piece of her skin in a freezer. In 2003, they used those frozen cells to do something never done before. They created a clone, a living baby ibex, born alive, the first extinct animal ever pulled back into the world. Imagine the scientists in that room, watching an animal breathe that science had declared gone. Then came the heartbreak. The newborn lived only minutes before her lungs failed. So yes, the ibex slipped away a second time, and no large project is actively rebuilding it today. But don't miss what that tiny life proved. For a few minutes, extinction was undone. The impossible became something that actually happened, with a heartbeat you could measure. Celia's cells are still preserved, still waiting. Picture them sitting in cold storage, holding everything needed to try again with today's far better tools. That brief life cracked open a door no one was sure could ever move. That door has stayed open ever since. Number 1. Giant Moa. Now the giant of them all. The South Island giant moa was the tallest bird that ever lived. A flightless giant that stood up to 12 feet high, taller than 2 grown men, striding through the forests of New Zealand. It vanished about 600 years ago, soon after people first arrived on the islands. For centuries, it was just bones in museums. But in 2025, the moa got something most lost animals never do: serious money and a powerful team. The filmmaker Peter Jackson, who made the Lord of the Rings movies, has loved the moa since childhood. He owns one of the largest private collections of moa bones on Earth, so he put $15 million behind bringing it back, joining with Colossal and the Ngai Tahu, the Maori people whose homeland the moa once roamed. Think about what that mix gives this project. Real funding, real science, a homeland partner with deep ties to the bird's own land. The team has already begun pulling ancient DNA from those old bones to read the moa's genetic blueprint. Picture a forest in New Zealand with a towering bird stepping through the ferns again, watched over by the people who never forgot it. It won't happen tomorrow, but the tallest bird that ever lived now has its best chance in 600 years. That chance grows stronger every month. But before you go, here's what I didn't tell you. Every animal on this list has a date attached: 2028, 2029, the coming years. These comebacks are actually coming. And when the first mammoth takes its step or the first striped tail moves through the bush, you'll want to see it. This channel is closing in on 500 subscribers, so hit subscribe and you won't miss the moment extinction gets undone. I'll see you in the next one.